Well, let's start with an easy one. What's your name?
Clary McCall.
When you're not making record-breaking sales in Buncombe County, where do you like to spend your time?
Well, I actually spend a good bit of time in Marshall, where I have a little house, and that's where I go to decompress and take my dogs and hike in the woods and sit by the creek, and that's my recovery place.
What do you like about Marshall?
The topography blows me away in Marshall. To me, it is so incredibly beautiful. The suddenness of the mountains, it's more sudden than here. It's so quiet. My little house over there, I don't ever hear a plane, I don't hear a car. So I love that. I don't have a house within a half a mile, and Marshall is just a quiet, quaint little place. And for somebody wired like I am, it really helps me unwind and stay sane.
Do you have any fun travel stories?
Well, I haven't traveled for a couple of years, but we did just go on a ski trip, and that was amazing.
Where's your favorite place to snow ski?
Big Sky, Montana.
Which of your skills would you say contributes most to your success?
Communication, my communication skills.
How do you stay positive?
Gratitude. I have, even way before I heard of Ninja or worked for Beverly-Hanks, that's been a part of my life. Gratitude lists, and every night and every morning, and it's the magic bullet in my opinion. It is the secret to happiness.
Did you have a business goal for this past year?
I did not have a business goal for this past year, but that was very intentional. And they may edit this out of the video because it is not the Ninja Beverly-Hanks way, but you have to understand that I come from a background of always being driven and goal-oriented, and it was part of my personal growth to choose not to set a goal this year. I still went to the goal planning meeting with KK and explained to her why I was doing what I was doing. And it was the first year I did not set, a numeric goal for production, and it was far and away the best year I ever had.
What was your first concert?
My first concert was the Rolling Stones.
What music have you been listening to lately?
Lately, much more mellow stuff, or mostly probably what my husband and my daughter listen to. My daughter listens to a lot of country music, which I never did, and I've really grown to enjoy. So that's new for me.
If you could go back in time, what advice would you give yourself in your first year of real estate?
I would tell myself not to worry so much.
If you could have lunch with any member of the current Beverly-Hanks family, who would it be?
I've had lunch with Neil, and I've had lunch with Debbie. I have never had lunch with KK, so I would have to choose Catherine Cuttery-Beck. I adore her, and that would be it.
What do you have planned for today?
I will go home and I will eat dinner and I will go for a walk with my dogs, and that'll be about it.
Which do you find most gratifying, buyers or sellers?
I am a listing agent through and through. I will work with the occasional buyer if they are local and nice, but I am a listing agent. That is what I enjoy, and therefore that is what I am best at.
Are you a texter or a caller?
I'm absolutely both, and emailer. I am all three. I am a very OCD communicator. I always want them to know I'm thinking about them, and I always usually am.
Who's the last person you emailed?
A current Ramble client that I'm working with.
Do you have a favorite local nonprofit?
I would probably say Brother Wolf as far as local, although there's a couple in Tennessee that Chimp Haven, where they rescue the research chimps, is my #1. And then there's a place called the Elephant Sanctuary, where it's this huge refuge for past performing elephants, and I'm a big supporter of them.
If you could make a documentary on any topic, what would it be?
It would have something to do with dogs.
What's a book everyone should read?
The Overstory by Richard Powers.
What is your favorite way to celebrate success?
Nice and quiet, and by not doing anything. I am not a attention seeker, awards person, any of that. So now I will say the recognition within Beverly-Hanks is really nice, and the reason is that the people in Beverly-Hanks really understand what it is to do what we do, so that means something to me. But truly, I'm pretty happy just in myself.
Do you have a favorite TV show?
I'm not a big TV person. Right now I'm watching Ozark. If I had to pick a favorite, it'd probably be Yellowstone at the moment.
Do you have a favorite character in Yellowstone?
I love Dutton. I think he's the boss.
For someone who doesn't like small talk, how are you doing right now?
This is no problem. This is not really small talk, so I don't mind this. I can just answer questions honestly, and that's great. Small talk to me is when you can't be fully honest. You have to sort of wrap yourself up and say what's appropriate. I do not do well with that.
What is your favorite vegetarian dish to make?
Well, I'm not a vegetarian, so whoever told you that got that wrong.
What's your favorite dish to make?
I do eat all organic, and I only eat humanely raised meat. So that is maybe where that got confused, because it does involve, animal welfare.
Do you prefer vintage or new?
In houses, new.
In clothing?
In clothing, new.
Where do you consider home?
Right down the street at the Ramble. My house there, that is definitely home.
Do you have a large family?
I do not have a large family. I have one daughter, and she is 18, and a husband, and we're a pretty tight-knit group, and she's getting ready to fly the coop. She's going to college in the fall at High Point University, and we're a pretty low-key bunch.
How do you feel about becoming an empty nester?
I have mixed feelings about it. I'll miss her terribly, but also it's time for her to go and, launch her own life, and she's ready, and I'm happy for her, and it'll be interesting to see, really.
Do you have any animals you would consider family?
Oh yes. My dogs, Eddie and Ellie, any dog I've ever had is my family. Right now I have 2 rescue dogs who, there's a great story with them. I had a vacant listing in the Ramble years ago, six years ago, and the sellers had already moved out, and I got a frantic call from another Beverly-Hanks agent. Oh my gosh, there's these little puppies over here. They look terrible. They're half dead. You've got to come over. So I ran over because I lived right down the street. And sure enough, they were 4 weeks old. We went straight to Reach Animal Hospital, and they had to rehydrate them, and they were in very bad shape and way too young to be away from their mom. Anyway, we took them in and nursed them back to health. I already had 2 16-year-old rescues, and I was like, I can't do geriatrics and 4-week-old puppies, but of course I did. And they're still with me, and they're my heart, as all my dogs have been.
What's your favorite non-work activity?
Hiking with my dogs.
How do you like to recharge?
Mostly with meditation and time in nature. That's how I recharge.
Which hobby would you like to spend more time with?
Being with horses, riding horses, caring for horses.
If you had a hashtag, what would it be?
Hashtag chill out.
Hashtag call McCall.
I have a hard time chilling out, so that was a little bit tongue-in-cheek, yep.
What was your first car?
It was a Peugeot station wagon, big tank.
Do you have a dream car?
No, I've bought my own dream cars, and they don't fix you.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
I am far and away a morning person. You will not catch me anywhere. Today is about as late as you'll see me out. You can ask KK. I go out 3 nights a year, and those are to Beverly-Hanks events. So no, I'm not a night person. I'm a morning person.
Do you have a morning routine?
Yes, I wake up every morning and I meditate, and I drink a matcha in the dark, just because it continues on with my peaceful time, and I like to watch the sun come up. And I'm usually outside doing that, even in the winter. And then I go walk my dogs, and then I start my day.
Did you start your day that way today?
Every day.
Do you feel supported by your Beverly-Hanks team?
100%.
What have you taken away from the Ninja program?
So many things. I think it's amazing to have a program like that breaks down so many tools, not just for real estate, but for living life. But the #1 thing for me is the focus on gratitude.
What are you grateful for?
We don't have enough time, but the common ones everyone hears. I have a deep gratitude for my health. I was in bed for 2 years and couldn't walk. with Lyme disease, so my health is something that I absolutely do not take for granted. I have deep gratitude for all of the people that help make my life so wonderful. I don't do what I do without a lot of help. I have people that help me at home. I have people that help me at work. I have wonderful Ann Louise and Holly. The support from KK and Neil and Debbie is unbelievable. My relationship with my daughter, my husband, so I could go on and on.
And our last question, why Beverly-Hanks?
Well, there was never any question of going anywhere else. Before I did a lot of real estate, personal real estate, investing, sales, building houses, remodeling, some development, all of that before I became an agent. And I had built a big house in Biltmore Forest and was selling it, and Ann Skoglund was my agent. And I told her I was taking real estate classes to get my license because I'd done all this real estate. It was like, it just makes sense to get a real estate license. And she said, oh, you have to come, go to lunch and meet with Beverly-Hanks. And I was never going to go anywhere that Ann wasn't, and Ann's never going anywhere that's not Beverly-Hanks. She is my friend and my mentor, and I have looked up to her since before I was a real estate agent, so there's never been a question. But that was before I knew what you got at Beverly-Hanks. Like, that was just about Ann. But having been a part of Beverly-Hanks for 12 years, there are times that I think, well, maybe I'll, take a sabbatical, or maybe I won't do this anymore and I'll go out west and ski, which I love to do. And my husband is, older than I am and would love to do that. But I'm so happy in my career. But the support you get, and I don't mean as a real estate agent, I mean as a human being, is unbelievable. And I've had quite a few jobs. I've worked for some good companies, worked for ADP and some companies that have great reputations. There's nothing like the company culture here.